Good morning, Year 3. It is Friday the 17th of July. Welcome to your last day of Year 3, your last math lesson, and your learning objective is I can create a board game based on addition. So we've got a really fun lesson for you today. So I said some of this at the beginning of the week, but I really wanted to say it again because you deserve to hear it again. Well done, a massive, 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 huge well done for all of your hard work in math this term and in fact this year in Year 3. So whilst you're in school and also whilst we have unfortunately not been in school. So throughout all of your home learning and your work in school, well done. You have learnt so much in math. You've all made really good progress. And your teachers want to tell you all that you are all amazing. Okay, so well done. Have a really good rest over the summer, ready for Year 4, but please do keep practicing your times tables. Okay, keep going on to times tables Rockstars or making up times table songs, just practicing them whichever way you like at home. So that your math skills that you've learned, you don't forget them, you keep them going over the summer, ready for Year 4. Make sure you can keep up those methods, column addition, column subtraction, the grid method, because when you go into Year 4, they will kind of expect that you know them because you've learnt them in year 3. Okay, so obviously you'll have some time to practice them and refresh, but it'd be a really good idea just to keep them going now and again over your summer holidays. Just do a little bit of practice, okay, so that you're ready for all of the exciting maths that you will do in Year 4. Okay. Okay, so today you're going to be making your own maths board game. Okay, I'm going to base it around addition to start with, but you can always add to it if you want to practice some other skills. And the thought is that you can then play these board games over the summer with your family, and you can practice the important math skills that you've learnt in Year 3. And also it'll be a really fun way to end the term making your own board game. Okay, so there's lots of ideas coming up. Before we start, I just want to say I'm only giving you obviously one lesson, today's lesson, to do this. However, that doesn't mean you have to rush to get it finished today. You can use your time, of course, how you want to. So perhaps it will be that you do a little bit of it today in your maths time, and then you finish it over the summer holidays, give you something to do. Okay, so yeah, no rush to finish it today, but obviously try and get them finished at some point. And if you do finish them today, then that's great. Your teachers would love to see photos of these board games when they are finished, so that would be really lovely if you could send them in. So let's go over. There are a few rules that I would like you to stick to start with at least, okay? So your maths game should be based on addition. I said you could include some subtraction too, but it's a game to practice those skills. And then I guess if you wanted to add in some times table questions or some division questions or something else, and that would be fine, okay? But base it initially to start with on addition. So your game should include questions for players to answer. So there's going to be some questions that you need to include. There can be any maths questions based on addition, but you'll need to include some for players to answer. So it is a maths game. Your game should be for 2 or more players. And there's going to be some templates that you'll see in a second, which you may wish to use to help. Or you can design your own game completely from scratch or your own template, okay, or you can use the ones provided. And your board game should be aimed at a Year 3 level, so not too easy the questions, but also not too tricky, okay? Aim it at a kind of Year 3 maths level. Okay, so what you need to do first, you need to decide on a template or layout for your board game, okay? So maybe draw a quick design, a quick plan. Have a look now at the templates that I have provided on the Year 3 page. And if you want to choose one of these, then you would need to either print it out if you can or draw your own version now. Okay, so start by thinking about and creating your initial template, okay? You could just think of it as a plan for now rather than spending lots of time on that. Make sure you know what your game is going to look like. Okay, then you need to decide how your game will work, okay, and then you can fill in the spaces accordingly. So one idea is that you might think, okay, I'm going to have a fairly simple layout like the one you can see on this screen, and it's like a treasure island with different almost stepping stones or different islands. And then you may think, right, okay, I'm going to put some question marks on some of the squares, and if you land on that square, you would pick up a question card. Okay, so if you follow this kind of idea, it might be a little bit more straightforward for you and you can follow all these steps. You don't have to, you might have your own other ideas, that's fine. But my suggestion would be to use a similar template to the one on the screen and then start by putting some question marks onto some of the squares. Some of the examples of templates, these are all on the Year 3 home learning page. Okay, so you can print them out or you can draw something similar for yourself, or you can do your own thing, but these are just some ideas to get you started. Okay, so another thing you'd need to do if you're following my kind of suggestion is that you need to create your own question cards, okay, that people would collect if they land on a square with a question mark on it. So remember to focus on addition questions, and I think you want to be creating maybe around 20 cards to start with, so there's enough to last for the game. You might need some more, but you'll find out, I guess, as you play. So maybe aim to create around 20 cards to start. Then you'll need to decide what happens when the player answers the question on the card, either correctly or incorrectly. Okay, so it might be that if they answer correctly, they move forward a certain number of spaces, or perhaps if they answer the question correctly, they get another go, and maybe the idea of the game is to get all around the track or the island or whatever it is first, and perhaps if they get it wrong, they miss a turn next time, or they move back a certain number of spaces. Okay, so it's up to you, but decide on the rules. You might want to make a note of the rules so you remember. So yeah, think about what happens if the questions are answered correctly or incorrectly. So once you have got your template sorted, okay, you know what it looks like, or perhaps you have done it and it's all ready to go, or you've done a plan for it. You've got some question cards ready to go, okay, and you've got the rules sorted. Then you can start to gather your extras. So you might need to find some board games that you have at home already, and you might need to borrow a die or some playing pieces, or you might like to make your own, okay, or use something else that you've got at home. So gather your extras, and then that's kind of the main things done. If you want to add some extra rules for your game, then of course you can. Okay, maybe you want to make it a little bit more interesting or a little bit more exciting, that's fine. Or you can stick with those simple rules of the question marks and collecting questions as you go. Maybe if you get a question right, you win a certain, I don't know, like a coin or something, and then the person with the most coins at the end win. Up to you, okay? So the extra rules are entirely up to you. And then when you've got everything sorted, so you have made your game and made all the extras and made the cards, the final thing you need to do is enjoy playing your game. And maybe that will need to be over the summer holidays instead of today, perhaps finding a time when people at home are free to play with you. But yeah, enjoy playing your game. And also, as I said at the beginning, take a photo of your game, either when you're playing with it or just before you play it, when it's all done, and send it to your teacher, because we'd love to see your board games. Okay, so yes, as I've just said, we'd love to see your finished games, send them to us. And finally, thank you and well done for all of your hard work in maths this year. I said at the beginning of the lesson, and I'm going to say it again because we're so, so proud of you. Well done, you've learnt so much. Keep it all, remember it all, and use it all for your super exciting learning in year 4. But we think you are all superstars, and I hope you have an amazing summer, okay? And I look forward to seeing you all in year 4 in September. Well done, year 3. See you soon.